Well, hey everyone, this is Dave Dubeau with another episode of the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast. Today, zooming in from beautiful Parker, Colorado, we have Stu Grazier. And Stu is an very interesting real estate entrepreneur because of his background, because of his focus, because of his niche. So Stu is actually an active Navy pilot. Is that correct, Stu?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Yeah, and you've been a pilot. You've been in the Navy for 18 years, I believe. Is that correct as well?
Yep, 18 years, 2 to go, and then I'll be retiring at 20 years of service. My
goodness. You military guys, look, you don't even have any gray hairs on your head, and you're already going to be retiring in 2 years. Good for you. But what's really cool, that's all cool, but what's really cool is that Stu and his partner have been rocking and rolling with active real estate investing since 2018, but you've done an astounding number of deals in a relatively short period of time. I believe you're over 50 deals so far. Is that correct, Stu?
Yeah. So, David, my business partner, also active duty Navy. We were roommates together in college at the Naval Academy, and we've just been friends ever since. And each of us individually have been doing real estate on our own for quite some time. I actually started, my first investment was right out of college, right when I was in flight school. That was my kind of first attempt at it. But so I've been doing all kinds of different real estate, learned a lot, lost a lot of money along the way, made some money along the way, and a lot of good lessons to go about that. But yes, our business that we started together was in 2018, and that's called Storehouse 310 Ventures, which is a turnkey company.
Perfect. So what does Storehouse 310 stand for?
So it came from a Bible verse, Malachi 3:10. And
you'll have to get me up to speed, my friend.
No worries. So Malachi 3:10, it says, "Bring a tithe to the storehouse," and the Lord says, "Test me in this and see if I want to open up the floodgates of heaven for you." And so for our business model that we came up with was the first 10% of our profits we're going to give to a charity organization that supports veteran causes. And we've partnered with a fantastic organization called Warriors Heart Foundation. And it's a healing center in Bandera, Texas, that helps that they bring in warriors, military veterans, first responders that have some type of chemical alcohol addiction and that are going through suicidal ideations, PTSD, that kind of stuff. And they bring them in. It's a full-blown healing center, and we support that. David and I have both had some close friends that we have committed suicide, and so it's dear to us and on our hearts daily. So yeah, that's kind of the business model, is that tithing to the storehouse.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, Thanks for explaining that. So Stu, talk to us a little bit about the type of real estate transactions that you guys focus on, that you and David focus on primarily.
Yeah, so the turnkey model, if you will, is focused primarily on single-family properties, mostly, single-family, but we do some duplexes as well every now and then if we can find them, if we can get a good deal on one. They're pretty popular in Milwaukee, but mostly single-family, a few duplexes. And our model is, we'll buy the house up front, and typically they're in disrepair. So we go in, we fix them up, make sure they're really nice, and do all the updates and upgrades, and make sure all the major, capital expenditure type items are upgraded. And then we turn it over to a property management company that we've partnered with. They'll get a renter in place, and then we sell that asset to another investor who's looking for that, single family home cash flowing asset that has property management in place and that's, has cash flow from day one. And, most of the people that are buying the properties from us are out of state. They're guys that are within our network, military veterans, and not only just military veterans, but that's who our network is, and that's who kind of gets referred to us for the most part. And they're living in California or Washington, D.C., and all those places where it doesn't really make sense from a cash flow perspective to buy rental properties. And so that's kind of who we target and who we help invest in real estate.
That is very, very cool. And so what market or markets do you guys typically buy your properties in?
So right now we're only in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
So you're in Colorado yourself.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a hike to get to Milwaukee from Colorado.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
imagine, huh?
David, my business partner, is in Maryland. So he's stationed in Maryland. I'm in Colorado, and our business is in Wisconsin. So,
Sweet.
go figure. But yeah,
How did you pick Wisconsin? How did you decide on that market?
yeah. So, I mean, one, it's a great cash flowing market. The Midwest has great cash flow markets in general. It's very affordable to live, so the price to rental index makes for those great cash flowing rental properties. So that's one. David, my business partner, his wife is from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so they had initially purchased some property themselves for their own assets. And they had purchased some in Milwaukee through a different turnkey company. And they had a really bad experience with the turnkey model that this
I've
company
heard
used.
a few nightmare stories about that.
Yeah. So they had a really bad experience with it. And similarly, kind of at the same time, I was buying some turnkey properties from a company down in Alabama. And we just started kind of comparing notes, and his was way worse than mine, but mine wasn't great either. And so we just kind of compared how our experience was. And we had at the time lots of other people asking us what we're doing and how we're investing, and we finally just decided, hey, we both have experience in this. We know how to do it right and what this process and it could look like and be right. And so we built our company, and we looked at a bunch of different markets, and we ended up going back to Milwaukee because, the numbers made sense. He had already kind of established a team there because he really had to kind of, out of due necessity, make his own team because the first go at it didn't go so well. And we liked a lot of the economic drivers that we saw. And so it just made sense. And we just started building out a team there, and been going strong ever since.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So what do each of you bring to the table as far as your business goes? You're in Colorado, your partner's in Maryland, I believe you said.
Yeah.
You got your properties in Wisconsin. So how does it explain? I'm having a hard time getting my head around how the business works. So if you don't mind, how does your business work?
Yeah. So David and I are, the co-founders of the company, and, we're best friends, but we really, contradict each other, if you will, in the different personality styles and types. I'm an engineer by trade. I'm a very analytical type person. I love my graphs and charts and Excel spreadsheets. And so I'm kind of the guy behind the scenes, like running the numbers, doing the analysis on the properties, making sure we have those systems and processes in place. I got my like Lean Six Sigma, certificate just because I thought it was cool and fun. So, I'm the guy doing like the project management and making sure all those systems and processes are in place for our team.
Cool.
And then he is, he's like the English major. He's kind of the visionary of the team. I'm kind of more of the, the guy running the day-to-day operations. He's talking to investors. He's kind of like the relationship guy and bringing in outside partners. And then he's talking to our team on the ground, talking to our project manager every single day, talking to our contractors every day. So he's kind of like the relationship builder, guy that's on the phone all day long. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm behind the scenes. And then in Wisconsin, we have our project manager, who's also like our realtor. She's been there locally for a long time, been in the business for a long time. And then her husband is our general contractor, who has 3 separate contracting crews that he manages. And then we just partnered with another third-party property management company that we vetted and that we've become, just had a really good relationship with. So that's kind of our team. Everyone besides just the owners are in Wisconsin themselves.
So is your realtor the one that's bringing you your deals, or are you finding off-market deals, or how does that work? How are you finding the properties?
Yeah, a little of both. I mean, so she's absolutely scouring the MLS daily, looking at all the stuff that comes in that's new to the market. But we've created some great relationships with wholesalers. We're pretty much on every single buyer's list for wholesalers. We're on, we're in all the like Facebook groups and the local RIA meeting groups and stuff like that. And so, we've just started building relationships with all the local investors, and they know that if they send us a deal that fits our criteria, we're going to buy it. And so, we get quite a few off-market deals. Mm-hmm. We don't do a whole lot of direct mail marketing or direct, direct to seller type marketing yet. We really haven't needed to, because we've just gotten on everyone's buyers list and we've gotten some great deal flow that way.
Very, very nice. So bottom line, if I understand correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stu, so you guys find a deal, usually probably a property that needs some, probably sounds like fairly serious work to bring it up to speed. Your contractor goes in, fixes it all up, and then you get a tenant in the property and get the property under management, and then you turn around and sell it as a package to an investor. And coincidentally, well, actually not coincidentally, very, very smart, you're focusing primarily on other military folks because that's your network. Plus, they kind of probably have the idea they need turnkey because if I'm not mistaken, most of you are getting switched from one spot to another on a pretty darn regular basis.
Yeah.
I know I had a niece, her husband was in the U.S. military as well. And it seemed like every 2 years they're moving to a new city. So it's very, very hard to, keep all your properties where you're living because you're moving all the time. Is that correct?
100%. That's exactly right. I mean, we're moving every 2 to 3 years. We're deploying, you're gone for, 6, 9, 12 months at a time. And so, you need a team in place. You need a support system in place to help you with these investments. And that's kind of where we have, created this system, this model to help out. And, and then a lot of the investors live in coastal markets, especially those that are in the Navy, like we are. They're in San Diego, they're in Washington, D.C.
You're not buying a single family home in cashflow in San Diego.
Exactly. They're in Hawaii, so all these places don't make sense. And then, for like Army and Air Force people, they live in these small towns where the only economic driver is the base itself. And, although it could create some decent cash flow, if you're in the middle of Kansas or something like that, but at the same time, there's only one economic driver. And, that's somewhat risky, so we felt that it would be a really good idea to get into one of these mid-sized, large cities in the Midwest where there are tons of different jobs, tons of different economic drivers, and where those numbers really make sense, and build that team out to where we can have that support system for the military, for the
Eddie type markets, right?
Yeah. And not only for military, right? It's just, for the busy professional, we have some doctors, we have, people that have full-time W-2 incomes that just don't have the time to go and, create their own team or go and do that market research on their own. So, yeah.
So if you could pick like your typical military type customer, so to speak, what are they looking for? Because again, you mentioned, you're at 18 years in your career, 2 more years, you're going to retire, you're going to be on a pension. I imagine a lot of the people that are buying these turnkey properties for you are kind of in the same boat. What are they looking for as far as additional revenue typically once they retire?
Yeah. So, there's lots of different strategies that you can kind of go down with this model. Most of our investors are very early investors. A lot of them, this is their first time that they're going to buy a rental property. And so, we're trying to teach the model of long-term buy and hold assets where over the long run, it's going to provide a solid cash on cash return and bring in that positive cash flow every single month. So we are selling these houses from day one at a 10% cash on cash return. And our goal is to have at least $200 of positive income after all expenses. And, we're very conservative when we run the pro formas and the rental analysis on these deals. We're including vacancy, capital expenditure savings, maintenance, property management, PITI, all of those expenses. After all of that, you're going to have positive cash flow. And so what we're teaching is, hey, you buy one house, it cash flows. You buy 2 houses, it cash flows. And you can kind of turn this into a little mini empire, if you will. And you're holding these properties, your tenants are paying off your mortgage for you. And, while you're serving in the military, you can kind of build up your assets. And over time, you're paying off these houses. And then it's just purely cash flow from then on. And it's just a supplement to your income. If you decide to get out and retire or go get another job later on, all you're having is this passive income that these assets are producing for you. So are
some of your clients kind of thinking ahead and thinking, hey, you know what, I'd like to I'd like to build up a portfolio of, let's say, 5 of these properties, and then by the time I retire in 15 years or whatever, generate X amount.
Yeah, absolutely.
On top of my retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have guys that, someone will say like, hey, my goal is to replace my military income by the time I retire. And it's going to take 10 houses that are going to be cash flowing $1,000 a month, in 20 years when they're all paid off. Right. So, we have those type of people who just want to buy 10 houses, pay them off, and then just have that cash flow. Or, we have other guys that are kind of like playing the Monopoly game, right? You buy 4 houses and turn it into a hotel. Buy 4 houses, do a 1031 exchange, and buy an apartment complex. And so we have those investors too that kind of are going for bigger deals down the road.
Excellent. Very cool. So as we wrap things up here, Stu, and again, I'm just really curious about how you guys are operating. So basically you're in the flipping business right now. But what about you and Dave? Are you keeping some of these and adding them to your long-term portfolio as well, or
yeah,
what are you guys doing for that?
Absolutely. Yep. We're adding some to our own portfolios. So I did that the Monopoly style type transaction where I had some single family houses that I owned and sold them off just recently, and then took the profits from that, and I went and bought a mobile home park.
Nice.
And then, David has some single family houses, and, he did a 1031 exchange a while ago and he bought 4 houses. So, and then, we're looking at some mobile home parks, we're looking at some commercial type properties, and then we'll pick up some single families as they come along too. So yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Very cool. Stu, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much for sharing your unique and very interesting. I think it's a great model. So hats off to you for that, for the giving back portion of the whole thing. I think that's an amazing part of your business model, is giving back first, tithing first, then the whole your whole philosophy, as well as the niche that you focused on. Again, so you guys being military guys, and you're focusing on helping other military people create financial freedom, right? That's awesome. Yep. So if people want to find out more about you and your company, what should they do?
Yeah. So go to our website. It's Storehouse310turnkey.com. Storehouse310turnkey.com, and they can go to the contact us page. We have a properties page where they can see all of our houses that we do, and we run through a video analysis of all of our properties. We have a podcast. It's called Filling the Storehouse Podcast, and there's a link on there. So just go to our website and you can see all of our social channels and get all the information you need right there.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Stu.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
My pleasure. All right, everybody. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks very much for checking out the Property Profits podcast. And if you like what we're doing here, please head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. Be very, very much appreciated. And if you're looking to create a regular flow of inbound investor inquiries about your real estate deals, then I invite you to attend one of my upcoming live online demonstrations. And you can check that out at investorattractiondemo.com. Take care.